dive into our topic, how to heal yourself by letting yourself get offended. So let me tell you a couple. What does it mean when we get offended? So we get angry, we get righteous, we start looking for support. We start to throw that feeling outside of ourselves, like, you support me, right? You say I'm right, right? This is wrong. This is not okay. And there's nothing wrong with that feeling. Actually, that's a good feeling. It's wonderful because it's bubbling it all up and it's churning it all up. Really, what being offended means is you are being faced with a belief that you hold about yourself that is no longer in line with your spirit. Okay. So here's a good example. This is amazing. This just happened the other day. I've been going to see a therapist, a counselor, for something that's going on in my life that I'm working on dealing with. And I needed that. We need that sometimes, is to go in and start to talk to somebody who can help give us tools to work through that. And we were talking about the Me Too movement. We were talking about sexism a little bit and just talking about kind of what the state of the world. And I was telling her how I really needed to feel respected by my partner, and really anybody. Like, I need to feel like I have respect. If I'm in a position where I feel disrespected or I feel junior to, or, it riles me up. I start to get cheery. I don't like it. And it's really come on strongly in the last couple of years. And she said, well, what beliefs, what do you hold on about yourself that makes you feel that way? Why do you feel like you're not on the same playing field? Why do you feel like you have to work for that? I recalled a conversation with a male family member when I was a child, 7, 8 years old. And he told me that it was when women won the right to vote that the country went to hell. And I realized in that moment that that was something I had internalized as a child. I'd held on to that belief, and I still hold on to that somewhere in my side myself, that women are not as good as men, that women are not, that women will ruin things or wreck things, or things will go to hell if a woman is put in charge. And it was a really eye-opening for me, and it helped me understand why I got so offended when I didn't feel like I was being respected, because I'm working to put myself, to elevate myself, to be all that I can be, to be a leader in my own right. And yet here I am holding on to this little belief, and it's very little, it's not all of me, but a little bit, that still believes that I am not worthy of a position of leadership or a position of respect, because I'm not good enough because I'm a woman. And it's nobody's fault particularly. I mean, the person who told me that had his own hangups, his own issues, his own beliefs that weren't working for him. And I had and then I internalized that belief about myself. So that brings me to, I've been seeing a lot of people getting offended, and I felt really offended. Not too many months ago, somebody had posted a racist meme, and I absolutely lost it. I absolutely lost it. And I wrote this big long diatribe about like racism and blah, 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 and white privilege and blah, blah. Oh my God, I just went to town, posted all over the place, had all of this rage come up because I was so offended by what this person had posted. It was so offensive to me and so gross to me. And it took me a long time to kind of work through that. But it turned out to be a really beneficial thing. And not to say I was particularly saintly about it, and I had choice words to say, and I didn't handle it in the most graceful, spiritually adept way. But I felt it, and I moved it. I moved something. And what was that pointing to? It was pointing to my own bullshit about being a white person in our country, in our world. And what I thought about that, what I felt about that, I was lining up old beliefs or inherited patterns with where my spirit sits now. So the next time somebody posts a racist meme that is just low class and tasteless, I don't have to have that offended flip out. I can go to, not what I want in my sphere. Totally okay. Moving on. And I can actually have a conversation with a person in that, right? Because I'm no longer driven by fear and emotions and throwing it outside of myself and looking for support and looking to shore up and to go to war because I got to fight this thing. I can go, well, here's what I believe and here's what I think. I'm just going to give this to you. And that is how we can use the power of being offended to heal ourselves and then go out and change the world. Because when you're operating from the place of shame and fear and resentment and all that icky stuff, you can't have a cohesive conversation because everything is just all the emotional noise here. You can't get your point across. You can't hear other people's point. You can't have your mind change, and you certainly can't change another person's mind. I've seen, a lot of with the Me Too movement and the women and the feminism, and and sexism and sexual assault, powerful stuff, but I've also seen a lot of I've seen a lot of things posted on Facebook and what have you about, calling people out, and to me, I feel kind of offended by that. Okay, where is that in me? Where do I feel like I might deserve to be called out, or I'm afraid I'm going to be called out because of something I say? It's just this kind of cycle and circle and circle that goes on and on and on. And it's challenging, but I believe, and I was feeling into this. So my Facebook post that I did on my personal page was about makeup. I don't wear makeup. I used to wear makeup. I used to wear it religiously because I really felt like I had to wear makeup. Like you were supposed to wear makeup if you were a woman. I felt that way about high heels going into the office. So when I stopped going into an office, I started working for myself. I went, I'm ditching the makeup and the heels. Oh, and it's been so liberating and free. And I'm really happy with my choice. I really am. But I feel, and I've been considering maybe starting to wear makeup again because I'm doing a lot of videos, and I'm like, maybe I should wear makeup, maybe that would like help people like perceive me. But then I dismiss it because I was like, it's just so not me. But I asked the question on my Facebook page yesterday. I said, if you're a woman who wears makeup or won't leave the house without wearing makeup, why is that? Is it because you feel like you have to? Do you feel like you're unattractive or unlovable? And I asked the question and I got a whole bunch of responses. And they were really good responses. People were talking about using their face as a canvas. And I thought that was just beautiful, and their fashion sense and their whole body. And like, yeah, getting into that. Not apparently what I'm willing to put energy into, but love. And I love to see people walking out who use their clothes and their face, and, to really like make a statement and talk about who they are. But then I also got comments that were a little bit snipey and a lot snipey, like, how dare you judge? And I went, I didn't think I was judging. Maybe I was judging, but if I was judging, I was opening up the dialogue, opening up the conversation. But I realized that even something as simple as wearing makeup can cause people to be offended. And it's not because of what I said. It's not because of the question that I asked. It's because it's our own internal stuff. And it really made me realize what a powerful catalyst those kind of emotions are. And here's what's really going on a spiritual sense. When you get that feeling of being offended, first thing you want to do is throw it outside of yourself. And that looks like looking for supporters. Okay, you support me, us against you, because you're bad and wrong, and I am offended by what you have to say. And that's anger. And that anger is our power. Okay, anger is not bad. Anger is intense energy, and it shows up in negative expression and it shows up in positive expression. And a negative expression can be throwing it outside of you. We throw that outside of us because if there's one thing that human beings are terrified of, it's our power. It's our personal power. When we really step into our true selves and our true divinity, watch out. It's unstoppable. And human beings, that scares us. We try and keep ourselves small, every single one of us. No matter how successful you see someone is, in some way, they are keeping themselves small and working in their own way to help expand themselves and be all that they can be. So that's what the anger, the offendedness is. You throw it outside of yourself, you look for supporters. And next you start to rage. And that rage, and I know because I've done this, is noise you're putting up here because you don't want to be seen. You don't want to be seen for that belief, just a little piece of you. It's not all of you. It's not the totality of you. It's this little piece that doesn't line up with your spirit, that doesn't line up with who you really are in this right now. So you're trying to hide that. You're unconsciously trying to hide that with the raging that comes with being offended. And these raging can be, various degrees. You can keep it to yourself and seethe, or you can, throw it out there. But either way, it's throwing up this wall of energy that's like, don't see me, don't see me, don't see me. And really, it's seeing yourself. We're so afraid of looking at those pieces of ourselves that directly contradict who we put ourselves out to be, or who we strive to be. It's a very scary place for people. I totally get it. I really do. I know. I've been there. I feel like I am there. I mean, I will look at things on Facebook and be like, I am offended. And you feel really self-righteous about it. But it's important to feel these feelings too. I'm not saying if you're offended, get over it. It's only because you got issues. That's not what I'm saying at all. It's important to feel that anger and feel these feelings and let the rage bubble. Let it go like this. Let it expand out. And will there be collateral damage? Often, but part of, when you realize that this is something you can use to heal yourself, that you can really use to line up totally and completely with who you really are, then you don't have to throw it out on somebody else. You don't have to rage at somebody else. But we will, because we're human. And that's what humans do. Because my experience, my rage experience, and my experience of throwing that rage out onto you who have offended me impact, gives you that experience that you need to have as the person being the catalyst for my opportunity to heal. I say opportunity because we by no means have to use anything that comes our way for healing in that sense. And a lot of us don't a lot of the time. It takes a number of hits with a proverbial 2x4 before we go, now I get it. Okay, I'm going to make some inner shifts here, inner adjustments here. So feel all of that, feel all those feelings. And once you feel that, then you can come back and you can have the conversation. So you heal yourself, and then you can come back and you can start to heal the world, because people will hear you when you have deep empathy and understanding for their point of view, and you healed yourself and you are able to bring a new perspective to the conversation, a new dialogue, a new dialect is what comes to mind. Bring a new dialect to the conversation, new dialect to the language.